Hello students, today is the last lecture of Equilibria unit and the last topic for this unit is solubility equilibria of sparingly soluble salts. Now first we discuss about the different types of salts on the basis of their solubility. We know that some salts are highly soluble in water, some are very less soluble, and some are even extremely limited solubility. So, what are the factors which affects the solubility? Now, if we take few examples like calcium chloride, it is highly soluble salt. Even if you leave the salt in open atmosphere, it's hygroscopic in nature. It will absorb the water vapors from atmosphere. So, very high level of solubility. And some are extremely less soluble, even they considered as almost insoluble like lithium fluoride, magnesium fluoride, barium sulfate. So almost they are considered as insoluble or very limited solubility. So such type of salts they are termed as sparingly soluble salts. So on the basis of solubility, we have three categories of salts. One which are soluble. The first category of salts is soluble salts. Soluble salts, we place those salts in this category having solubility is where solubility is more than 0.1 moles per liter. If the solubility of given salt is more than 0.1 mole per liter, this is considered as a soluble salt. And if the solubility of given salt is in between 0.0 to 0.1 mole per liter, then we consider that salt is slightly soluble. Slightly soluble, having solubility is how much? Between 0.01 to 0.1 moles per liter. Means the solubility should be more than 0.01 moles per liter and less than 0.1 mole per liter. Then that is considered as slightly soluble salt. And the third category is of sparingly soluble salts. Sparingly soluble salts having solubility even less than 0.01 moles per liter. Their solubility is even less than 0.01 moles per liter. So understood children, these are the three categories on the basis of solubility. If the solubility is more than 0.1 mole per liter, that salt is considered as fairly soluble salt. If the solubility is between 0.01 to 0.1 moles per liter, means it should be more than 0.01 and less than 0.1 moles per liter, then we call that salt as slightly soluble salt. And the third is the salts having very limited solubility. Their solubility is even less than 0.01 moles per liter. They comes under this category. Now, what are the factors which affects the solubility? The two main factors which decides the solubility of a given salt are, the first factor is solvation enthalpy. Solvation enthalpy. And the second factor responsible for solubility is lattice enthalpy. Lattice enthalpy. If you remember about lattice enthalpy, we discussed in bonding unit even. So, still we discuss it again. First, what do we mean by solvation enthalpy? Solvation enthalpy means the amount of energy released when 1 mole of solid is dissolved in a particular solvent. Listen again. Amount of energy released. So it is negative. Amount of energy released when 1 mole of solid is dissolved in a particular solvent. that is termed as its solvation enthalpy. Second is lattice enthalpy. It is the amount of energy required, means delta H is positive here. Amount of energy required to break 1 mole of ionic solid into its constituent gaseous ions. Listen again, I am repeating. Amount of energy required to break 1 mole of ionic solid into its constituent ions in gaseous state. That is termed as lattice enthalpy. So, if solvation enthalpy is dominating factor, means if it dominates over lattice enthalpy, or we can say if the solvation enthalpy is higher than lattice enthalpy, then the given ionic solid is soluble into the particular solvent. But if lattice enthalpy is more as compared to solvation enthalpy, then that would be insoluble. So, for dissolution of ionic solid into water, it's important that its solvation enthalpy should be greater than lattice enthalpy, so that the ions, constituent ions, can broken easily and it gets dissolved into the given solvent or water. I think now it's clear how do we decide the solubility of a given salt into water. Secondly, the solvation enthalpy also depends on nature of solvent. Like for non-polar or covalent solvents, this is very less. Clear? For what kind of solvents? Non-polar, or you can say covalent solvents. Delta H solvation is very small. Delta H solvation is very small for such kind of solvents. It means the ionic salt remains insoluble into non-polar solvents. They cannot dissolve because their solvation enthalpy is not sufficient to overcome the lattice enthalpy. Clear, children? Why ionic solids are insoluble in non-polar solvents? Because their solvation enthalpy is very small, so it cannot overcome the lattice enthalpy. That's why they are insoluble in non-polar solvents. So, it means it also depends on the nature of solvent. As well as solubility also depends on temperature, changes with temperature. So, these are some factors which decides the solubility of given salt. So, one very important factor, just always keep into your mind that for solubility or for dissolution, solvation enthalpy should be more than lattice enthalpy. Or simply we can say the released enthalpy should be more as compared to the enthalpy required to break that ionic solid into its constituent ions. Only then that salt gets dissolved into water. So now let us discuss the solubility equilibria for a sparingly soluble salt in its saturated solution. To calculate solubility product constant, take an example of any sparingly soluble salt like we discussed barium sulfate is an example. It has very limited solubility. So if we take the aqueous solution of barium sulfate, it will dissociate into barium ions and sulfate ions in its aqueous medium. Very small amount of barium sulfate gets dissolved and rest of the salt remains in undissociated form. So for the saturated solution of this salt, if we write the formula for equilibrium constant K, so equilibrium constant K is equal to molar concentration of barium and sulfate ions, as the equation is already balanced, multiplied by sulfate ion divided by barium sulfate. Now, as we know, molar concentration of pure solid remains constant. So, a constant multiplied by another constant, this is equal to barium and sulfate ions. And this constant is termed as KSP, solubility product constant, or simply solubility product. So KSP is equal to product of barium ions and sulfate ions. So from here we can define the solubility product even, that this is the product of molar concentration of ions present in the saturated solution of a sparingly soluble salt. This KSP we have written for this particular case of barium sulfate. Now if we want to write the expression of KSP for any general case, like if I am taking a salt AXBY, that this is a case of a sparingly soluble salt. So to write the equation for KSP, first we are supposed to dissociate the salt into its ions. It is dissociated into cation A having the charge Y positive and the anion B having the charge X negative. Now balance this equation, that how many moles of A and B are formed here. X moles of A and Y moles of B are formed. So from here we can write the equation of KSP for this general case. Product of molar concentration of cation multiplied by anion raised to the power their coefficients, that is X and Y. This is the way to express KSP. Now, as we discussed in case of equilibrium constant, that by knowing the value of reaction quotient, we can tell about the direction of reaction. Similarly, here if we check the value of QSP and compare it with KSP, we can decide the direction of reaction. Like if QSP and KSP are equal, it's a saturated solution, or we can say this is in equilibrium. This is equilibrium stage. If QSP is smaller than KSP, in this case the solution is unsaturated, or we can say dissolution process is going on. But the third option, QSP is greater than KSP, means this is supersaturated solution or precipitation is PPT is formed. So in this way, by comparing QSP and KSP, we can tell the direction of reactions like we discussed in case of KC and QC. Just try this question now. Calculate the solubility of A2X3 in pure water. The solubility product of the salt is this much. So the given salt is A2X3. Children, first we ionize this salt into aqueous medium. It will ionize into the cation A, trivalent cation, and divalent anion. Now we balance this equation. Number of moles of A, we will get 2 moles of A and we will get 3 moles of X. We are supposed to calculate the solubility of the given salt. Let us assume that the solubility of the salt is X moles per liter. We are assuming its solubility is X moles per liter. So how much cation we get in the solution? 2x, and how many anions we are getting? 3x. Now use the formula of KSP. KSP equals to product of molar concentration of cation and that of anion raised to the power their coefficients. Now KSP is given. This is 1.1 into 10 to the power minus 23. Substitute the value 10 raised to the power minus 23 equals to solubility of A 2x square multiplied by 3x cube. On solving this, you will get the value of x, and that is the solubility of given salt. In this way, you can solve the questions based on KSP. Children, now we talk about the common ion effect on solubility of ionic salts. So, this is also based on Le Chatelier's principle. For example, if we increase the concentration of any of the ions present at equilibria, then it will combine with its opposite ion. For example, if we increase the concentration of cation at equilibria, of course, the increased cation will combine with anion to maintain that concentration, and more salt will be precipitated. Means precipitation process increases when if we increase the concentration of any of the ion at equilibria, then this increased amount of that particular ion will combine with the opposite ion and more salt will be precipitated till again KSP becomes equals to QSP. If we take the opposite process, that at equilibria, if we decrease the concentration of any of the ion, now we are decreasing the concentration, and if we decrease the concentration of the ion, more salt gets dissolved so that the decreased concentration will be maintained, because the Le Chatelier principle says equilibria always moves in opposite direction. So when we are decreasing the concentration of ions, to maintain that decreased concentration, to nullify that effect, more salt will be dissolved, so that now the concentration of ions starts increasing and the effect would be cancelled out, and again KSP becomes equal to QSP. So this is the effect of common ion, that on increasing the concentration, precipitation of salt starts. On decreasing the concentration of any ion, dissolution of that salt starts. And this common ion effect even applicable for soluble salts also. It's not applicable for sparingly soluble salts only. For soluble salts also. Like if we take the example of sodium chloride. It's a soluble salt, we all know. First take the saturated solution of sodium chloride. When we take the saturated aqueous solution of sodium chloride, dissociated into sodium ions and chloride ions. Now to this saturated solution of sodium chloride, I am providing any common ion to the solution. For example, if I pass HCl gas through this saturated aqueous sodium chloride solution, I am passing HCl gas through this. It will dissociate into hydrogen ion and chloride ion in the solution. Now as the concentration of chloride ion increased, just now we discussed that if we increase the concentration of any one of the ion, precipitation of salt starts, and decreasing concentration, dissolution starts. So now here we increase the concentration of one of the ion. The concentration of chloride is increased. So according to Le Chatelier principle, equilibria moves in backward direction. And going backward means precipitation of sodium chloride starts. So in this way, we get high purity sodium chloride, which is free from all dissolved impurities like sodium chloride, sodium sulfate, magnesium sulfate. These kind of impurities, now they are separated from sodium chloride because precipitation of sodium chloride starts in presence of this common ion. So this process, common ion effect, is used to separate sodium chloride from seawater It's a very important procedure. Similarly, you can precipitate many of the compounds in their ionic form, like we can precipitate silver ions in the form of their silver ions can be precipitated in the form of AgCl. Ferric ions can be precipitated in the form of hydroxide. Clear, children? In this way, you can precipitate ions in the form of their different salts like barium ion. You can precipitate in the form of its sulfate. So these are very important procedure where by using common ion principle, by providing a common ion, we get the precipitate of that particular salt. Clear, children, this thing? Now we discuss the effect of pH on solubility. If we take any salt of weak acid like sodium sulfate, sodium acetate, sodium phosphate, these are the salts of weak acids. Now if we change its pH, how its solubility changes? Suppose we are decreasing the pH. If we decrease the pH, it means we are providing more hydrogen ion. Concentration of hydrogen ion starts increasing. We are making medium acidic. This increased hydrogen ion will combine with the anion of acid. So the concentration of one of the ion decreases. Means if the concentration of one of the ion will decrease, more salt will be dissolved. Understood, children, or not? Just take the example. Suppose I am having CH3COO, Na, salt of a weak acid, dissociates into acetate ion and sodium ion. Now, we are decreasing the pH, means we are providing more hydrogen ion. These hydrogen ions, they will combine with the anion, acetate ion. So concentration of one of the ion will decrease. Due to this decreased concentration, according to Lee-Chattiya principle, equilibrium shifts in forward direction. Forward shifting means more dissolution. So hence it is clear that on decreasing pH or making the medium acidic, the dissolution process of salt will start increasing. Means its solubility will increase. This even we can discuss quantitatively also. We can talk about this. Let us we have a sparingly soluble salt MX. This salt will dissociate into its cation and anion in its saturated solution. So for this, Ksp is equal to molar concentration of cation and anion. Now, as we are talking about the effect of pH on its solubility, we discussed theoretically. Now, we are discussing in the form of this equation, quantitative form. Now, for example, when we make the medium acidic, that we are decreasing the pH or increasing the hydrogen ion concentration. So, in presence of acid, the ions which we will be getting are hydrogen ion, and this is the anion in aqueous medium. Now, formula for dissociation constant of acid equals to molar concentration of hydrogen ion, anion divided by molar concentration of acid. Rearrange this equation. We may write Hx divided by X negative equals to hydrogen ion divided by Ka. Now, adding 1 on both sides of equation. Now, solve this equation further. We may write Hx plus X negative divided by this anion X negative. That is equal to H positive plus Ka divided by K. From here we have written that equation. Now take the inverse of this equation, that is X negative anion divided by Hx plus X negative equals to Ka divided by hydrogen ion plus K. Clear, children? And let us take this factor equals to F. Now suppose this, from here one thing is clear. Before going ahead, just check. The value of F will decrease if we increase the molar concentration of hydrogen ion, means decrease the pH. Understood? F will decrease on increasing hydrogen ion concentration or decreasing pH. Now, suppose the solubility of that salt is S moles per liter. We are assuming solubility of given salt is S mole per liter. So now we substitute the values in the formula of KSP. So KSP will be equals to molar concentration of cation, that is S moles per liter, and that for anion F times of S moles per liter. Here substitute the value of F from this equation, that is S square into, for F it is Ka divided by H positive plus Ka, or from here solubility S is equal to root of KSP multiplied by hydrogen ion plus Ka divided by Ka root of this value. So from here again it is proved that solubility will increase if hydrogen ion concentration will be increased or pH of solution will be decreased, right? So hence this is proved in both the ways, calculative way as well as in the way of theory. So with this, children, equilibrium chapter is complete. Try some more questions so that you can solve each and every problem of equilibrium. That's it for this lecture.